Hi guys, Nurmeet here. This is Red Luna Journal. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Ooh, you can kind of see my little Febreze little... Woo! So I think today what I'm going to talk about is like job search and how that process goes, and man, is it a process. Also, yeah, my hair looks a little cray-cray right now. I got it relaxed yesterday, that treatment that like I do that you guys probably know of. It's also like I have a video on that on my channel, so go watch that if you haven't. But and then I also cut my hair. It's been pretty much like a little bit this length for the past month. I actually had the worst haircut of my life. That's really dramatic, but the girl like really butchered my hair. She took a big razor and was just like and I didn't even have time to say like what the hell she's doing, because like it literally was like 5 minutes and it was insane. It was the weirdest thing I've ever experienced, and she butchered my hair. Like I went in there with like my nice boob length hair and I asked for a trim, and she cut my hair like to here, and it was so choppy, it was horrible. So I had to go to another hairstylist and like have her fix it kind of, and so this is my second haircut after that. So it's short now. Honestly, I kind of like it, so it's fine, whatever. We're just not gonna talk about it, okay? But yeah, so just kind of updating you guys with my life. Yeah, I have short hair now. That's cool. It's also the new year, so happy new year, guys. I just wanted to talk to you guys some tips that I do, kind of websites I look at for jobs, and different kind of things that I've learned throughout the way that have helped me. So yeah, with that being said, let's get on with the rest of this video. All right, so I'm gonna kind of talk about like 4 or 5 things. So the first thing is gonna be like websites that I look at for jobs. First things first is I would find out your university's job career portal. So like for my university, it's Handshake. I think for a lot of people it is Handshake nowadays. Not exactly sure on that, but go onto that, register yourself, and actively look for jobs there, because a lot of the most like relevant postings are going to be on that, because obviously it's like related to your major and university. So that's the first thing, is like try to find out what portal career kind of site that your university has, because that will be obviously helpful. Second thing is LinkedIn. I mean, I think that's like really obvious at this point, but create an account on LinkedIn. It doesn't matter what major you are, like even if you're not technology major, you can be any major, but create an account on LinkedIn, make it as thorough as possible. Look up like tutorials and whatever on like how to create the perfect bio for your major and all that kind of stuff, but make an account on LinkedIn. It's like a digital footprint in the workspace, and it's so important, and it's so easy. Like if you have an Instagram account, just make a LinkedIn account. It's not that hard, and it's something that can be really good for your career, especially in terms of getting job opportunities. Other than LinkedIn, obviously looking at sites like Indeed.com, Glassdoor.com. There's so many like jobs websites. Like even if you go on Google Jobs, they have like a thing where you can like search for jobs. Not only within Google, but like also outside of Google, so it's just like a search page kind of a thing, just to look at the opportunities near you. You know, it's a good way to do that, because they have a lot of filters usually. So it's like location, what kind of job is it, like entry-level experience, like do an internship, paid, non-paid. I don't think anyone would want a non-paid job, but all that kind of stuff is on those websites, which a lot of time, like if you go on like career websites, you're not really gonna find that filter of like these different aspects of a job. So that's something that you can definitely take advantage of. And then obviously, aside from that, whatever companies you're looking at, go onto their career websites. Every company has a career part on their website. And honestly, the way I got my second internship, the majority of my college career, I worked on campus as an IT student assistant. So I worked with like the IT service desk, and then people who deal with like the Wi-Fi and the school website, all that kind of stuff. And so one of the applications that we used was like for this company, and I was using it during work like I did every single day, and I was like, let me just see like if these guys have any internships open. And I saw, and they had so many, and so I applied to a lot of them. I got interviewed for a lot of them. That's literally the easiest thing to do. Go on your phone and look at the different apps you have, and friggin' like literally look up every single company of that like app and just apply to their internships. Like I guarantee you, like TikTok has internships. I didn't know if you knew that. Maybe you did. That's one thing I really recommend, is just make sure you're exhausting all your resources of what you're looking at and who you're applying to. Don't be afraid to look at some companies that you're interested in and go on LinkedIn and type in that company, and then go under people and see the people who are working for that company. I've done that a couple of times, and I've seen a lot of times under their LinkedIn profiles, they'll say like, we're hiring, please contact. And so shoot them a message on LinkedIn. Like, there's no law against it. And one thing, which was also kind of going to be my second tip now, is that you guys have to remember that being persistent and annoying in terms of like career and getting a job is not wrong. If anything, it's looked in the right way. I have a lot of friends that'll ask me all the time, like, oh, should I email them? Like, it's been a couple weeks, but like, you know, they haven't said anything. Like, should I wait? Email them. Like, take that step, because being persistent and dedicated and determined to actually contact someone only appears good. Like, obviously, if you're not being like rude and annoying and stuff like that, but it just shows that you care, and that matters a lot. And that's why I've gotten a lot of offers in the past too, and a lot of just networking, communications, and just good relationships with people, because you take that step and you're just like, hey, you know, I just want to remind you, because honestly, the truth is that they're probably really, really busy. 90%, it's not because they hate you, it's just because they don't really remember. So it's okay to remind them after a couple of days, you know, after it's been kind of a while and you're like, I haven't heard anything from them. They said they would contact me, but they haven't. Wait a couple of days and contact them again and just be like, hey, like, just wanted to touch base with you guys. Just wanted to check if everything's okay, and like, I just wanted to see how things are going. You know, if you need anything else, please let me know, all that kind of stuff. That's my second tip, is make sure you're always in touch and are trying to actually create a genuine bond between that person who you're trying to work for in the future or just trying to network with. Okay, so my third tip, which honestly is kind of like my dad's tip, so I'm not taking credit for all of these, but to stay educated and remain educated in the field you're going to be in. So doing things like taking courses on Coursera and just researching, you know, in your field, making sure you're up to date with the latest trends, whether it's like technology or like, I don't know, like any new media things, depending on whatever major you're in, making sure you're up to date so that when you do have a chance to actually meet these people, right, you are sounding knowledgeable and smart and like you know what's going on. Obviously for your own like personal development, learning and growth, that should be kind of the case. But when you're meeting these people, you don't want to be regurgitating stuff you've learned in school a year ago. You know, you want to be talking about the latest trends and picking their brain and asking like, hey, what do you think about this thing? Like, do you have any like projects in that area? Like, are you going to invest your time in that new area? Like, it's been catching up a lot in the industry, you know, like all that kind of stuff. And that just shows that you're also, again, current and you're interested in actually furthering your knowledge and not just getting a job for money. Even though that might not be the case, I don't know. It's important to show that you're genuinely interested in learning, because a lot of people don't take that extra step. And also a lot of people do. So to stand out, again, you have to do that. You have to tackle your brain and, you know, make sure you're involved in all that stuff, because competition is tough. So Coursera is a good website to look at that. LinkedIn Learning, which I don't think is free if I'm not mistaken. YouTube, literally like Khan Academy obviously, but like YouTube is such an easy platform for all of these things. Like, there's videos of everything on YouTube, and I'll give you guys kind of an example, which I'll kind of mesh in with my fourth tip, is like when you're going into interviews, make sure you're so well acclimated with that product, company, whatever, that they're just like, whoa, it's like she already works here. Kind of how that works with my third tip, hand in hand, I'll explain to you guys. So for example, say there's a technology company like Microsoft, okay? And say there's like a specific position you're interviewing with that deals with a part of Microsoft. So for example, Microsoft has this data cloud-based platform that's called Azure, or Azure, I don't know how people pronounce it. But anyways, say you're like interviewing for like a product owner of that product within Microsoft. Create a trial account, learn it, demo it, and then when you go to your interview, open up your laptop and show them what you did. I'm telling you guys, that is like such an important thing. And like, aside from like, yeah, you gotta prep for interview questions and all that stuff, but the most important thing is showcasing what you've done, because a lot of people won't do that. When Microsoft or when whoever you're interviewing with asks the question, do you know like about our company? Have you kind of played around with our product? 80% of the people will be like, yeah, like I know what your product is, but I haven't really played around with it. You want to be the latter and the smaller percentage that has actually played around with the product, and not only saying that like, oh yeah, I tried it out or whatever, but showing them, hey, this is what I did, and like I think these aspects are so cool, and like I'd love to learn more about this, and like I think this is really cool because like I know how to do a little bit of this through my school. That is like insanely effective in terms of interviews, because that person is going to remember that, wow, out of the 20 candidates I interviewed, Nurmeet sat down and she showed me how to demo our product. And it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong or anything. Like, obviously make sure you research and like know what you're talking about. You might have to practice a little bit. Like, I'll always have notes like as if like I'm doing like an oral for like Spanish class or whatever, and I do memorize a little bit because you want to be saying the right words, obviously. But showing that you like know how to use a product, and not only that, are like, you know, not brave enough to actually showcase that, hey, like, you know, this is your guys' products, but see, I'm actually interested in this. So I think that's like also my fourth tip, is like making sure you invest your time in the company that like you're going to be interviewing with, depending on what kind of an interview it is. Obviously, if it's over the phone, like you're not going to be able to show them a demo, but I always like to ask, like, unless it's like the talent recruiter, because those people usually are like just the preliminary ones that'll interview you, asking you about your experience. But as soon as you get to like the hiring manager and like the people you're going to be working under, and you start doing those interviews, ask them if they haven't offered already to do a video interview so you can show them a little bit. You know, it's a lot more effective to say that, hey, like I wrote these blogs on my resume, you know, they're there, go check them out, versus actually showing them how to check them out and showing them that, hey, like this is what I wrote about and all that stuff. Because then later on they'll go and reference that because they've already been through that with you, and so they remember that. So that's something that I think third and fourth tip is like making sure you invest your time, go onto YouTube, learn how to use products and stuff like that, and obviously like educate yourself about like market competitors and all that stuff. But on top of that, make sure that especially the company you're interviewing with, you spend a lot of time on thinking about, almost like it should be a presentation, honestly. And yeah, it's nerve-wracking, like I totally get it. It's really nerve-wracking, especially if you don't know the product and you pretty much just like crammed yourself in one day and you're like, okay, wow, now I gotta go present to these executives and like do an interview at the same time. Like, it's hard, but it makes such a lasting impression, because most of the times when they ask that question, like, oh, do you know anything about us, they expect you to be like, you know, reciting that Wikipedia 2-liner or whatever. But if you show them that, you know, you do know something about them, you have spent the time and dedication to actually use their product, and then also implementing that to pass things that you learned in school, like that is such a good impression, and it really will make you stand out when you're interviewing. All right, so I think my fifth tip is going to be posing and wording what you've done and your experiences in the past. In all honesty, I think where a lot of us dumb down our experience is on our resume and the way we talk about it. So for me particularly, like, yeah, I'm in technology, but naturally, like, I mean, I have good vocabulary, but using those kind of action verbs of what you've been doing in your internships and like your experience is so important, because that's how everyone talks in that world, in the workspace. And so teach yourself how to talk like that, you know. Make sure in your resume you don't just say like, oh, built a dashboard. Like, for example, I did that in my second internship. I said developed and designed and implemented a dashboard within the sales ops team. That sentence sounds a lot different than just built a dashboard. Like, making sure, and honestly, the way I do it, this might sound kind of lame, but like I just go online and I type in like tech buzzwords and like start to incorporate that, because naturally, like if any of you have had internships, you guys know, like when you're in that workspace, you realize you're like, wow, like people are smart, like they talk like that and all that stuff, and it's so much more different than college, right? And then you go back to college and you're like back in your college time, and like no one's talking like that, obviously. And so using those buzzwords for that industry, if you look up marketing buzzwords, they have like specific terms and stuff like that to describe marketing. Instead of just saying that like, oh yeah, I did marketing for this company, you can say what kind of marketing you did. Did you do demand generation marketing? Demand generation marketing is when you create a generation of product users for that product, and you're kind of like measling your way into that crowd and creating that perfect user that you want. If you did something like that, then that's demand generation marketing. Don't just dumb it down by saying marketing, because anyone can do marketing, right? That's where you don't want to dumb down your experience, right? Like if you had one internship, make it sound hella awesome. Saying something like, oh, just did like sales and marketing for a company, versus saying like, oh, did this targeted sales, increased access rate by this much. Using statistical numbers is really, really beneficial, obviously. And it takes a little bit of time. Like I think I've sat down a lot with my dad, and he's edited my resume a lot too, because in the past, like I didn't realize that I was dumbing it down. And then he was like, wait, you got to use these like action powerful verbs to actually show what you did. You didn't just like contribute to a side project, you did this. And so making sure that it comes across that way is always a good thing to do, just because you don't want to dumb down your experience and you want to highlight those important things you've done. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and once again, if you guys have any video suggestions, comment them down below. With that being said, that is going to be the end of this video, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye guys.
Before you came round, my heart would never be much faster. Before you came round, I was ready to slow down. Before you came